Welcome to Stress Free, which demonstrates how we at the Disabilities Trust help people with autism avoid or reduce stress and anxiety in the workplace. The programme is based on the models taught to students at Heathermount, and it's been adapted to help employers and colleagues understand people with autism and help provide a warm, friendly and supportive working environment. It's widely recognised that a diverse workforce is not only enriching in terms of our working experience, but it also provides for a good, respectful and helpful working environment. For any working relationship to be positive, we need to understand that people have different ways of working. People with autism can make a genuinely valuable contribution in the workplace. They're keen, dedicated, hard-working, enthusiastic. But the nature of autism is such that they don't always see the world in the same way that you and I do. And because of that, they can become frustrated and confused for very little or no obvious reason. As a result of that frustration or confusion, they can then behave or react in a way that we simply don't understand. It's really important, therefore, that we understand what the potential reasons are for such behaviour, and that we can help to make sure that the working environment and the working relationship is as comfortable for the person with autism as it is for their colleagues. An awareness of autism can really help that understanding. You will see in the film that students are taught about potential issues and help to understand different ways of coping with the issues in the workplace.
Well, people with autism, they have real difficulty in sort of seeing the big picture. If they're out in the community, they might not be able to relate certain things together. They may have issues with the environment, so that may actually dominate their thinking. It may be that that's raising their anxiety levels, and that really creates a problem and takes a focus away maybe from a conversation, or possibly it might be crossing a road, that something else has distracted them, and suddenly it's dominated their thoughts and it's putting them at risk in that way because something else is obviously more important, but they can't see that. They might be very anxious just within the environment that they're in. They might like a very simple, plain working area. They like structure as well, so if they haven't got structure around them to organise their day, they can find that very difficult. And each person will have different traits, different issues that will affect them. Well, our students have to have the environment sort of structured for them. We provide systems where they'll have an organiser, and that lays out the task that they've got to do, or it sets out the sequence of tasks that they need to complete. We have a variety of systems if the students are working and possibly get stuck in what they're doing. Then we'll have prompt cards.
Jonathan, what's that you've got in your hand?
Bangles. Where would be the best place to leave them?
Good asking for help. I think you should put them on that table over there where they'll be safe.
Okay.
We have mantra systems which the staff use, again, to remind students of what is appropriate, what is not appropriate.
You need to read through these to remind yourself how to talk to your boss.
Listen to your boss at all times. Look at your boss while he or she is talking to you. A
task sheet is really laying out the jobs they've got to do. So in a workplace you could call it a task sheet, you could call it a job sheet.
Okay then, tasks for cleaning the church, I need you to write them down, please. We need, Ian, can you get the hoover out and hoover the red carpet?
We work with our students to recognise signs in their bodies as well, because often, because of their own personal insight, they don't often understand what is going on with their bodies and then can't understand why they're getting anxious. So we try and look at different ways to then reduce the anxiety. So if their heart rate is at a pace, we've mentioned putting your hand on your chest, maybe feeling that heart rate.
Calm breathing helps me calm down and keeps me focused on the job. Taking a minute to breathe calms me down. I can complete my work now.
That can get away from feeling clammy, sticky, the sort of things that often, as sort of mature adults, you understand these issues and situations and you can recognise these signs, but these people can't in many cases. So they're starting to understand themselves, more aspects of their bodies, and maybe linking it to a cause or something that's creating that problem. And if they remember that in the future, then they can pull it together and think, oh yes, I've been here before, I've seen this before, I know what to do.
Eating fruit like grapes and bananas will give me the energy to work all day long.
If they're in a difficult situation in a classroom or out working grounds, then we have a strategy that if they understand they've got problems and anxieties raised, then they will have a time-out session.
So when you go outside, show me what you do. Close your eyes. Calm breathing. Get your thoughts back together again. When you're calm, you go back into work and you say to your supervisor,
I'm ready to work again.
And they know you're ready to work because
You're sitting up straight and you're paying attention and listening to what they have to say.
That then hopefully gets around issues of confrontation, because sometimes if someone is building up inside with anxiety, which could then lead to anger, lashing out, whatever, then it means they can avoid that. Other techniques they can use as well in these situations, I mentioned earlier, was sort of the idea of hand massages. They might do self-massage on shoulders and things like that, which are really good ways of just calming down, and they can implement them themselves. At a younger age, students might have support from tutors working.
12, 14, 16.
Well, when students arrive at Heathermount, they've often had a very difficult history. Sometimes they're quite young people, but they've gone through several failed mainstream placements. They might have done 5 or 6 schools, some of them by the time they're 10 or 11 years of age, which is very, very difficult. It puts them in a situation where they've got incredibly low self-esteem, and this can have a major impact on their behaviour.
No, I'm not doing it.
For us, the first thing really is to try and look at the sort of issues that are affecting them and trying to set up a programme that personalises and supports them to help them move through really what is the first phase at Heathermount. With the appropriate systems in place, our students are able to make a successful transition to the workplace.
Now, do you remember Keeley?
Yes, I remember Keeley.
What, just remind me how she taught you to smile. Do you remember that day?
I was doing the assessment with her, had to go and find out like what work, if any skills staff wanted any work doing, and she told me I had to smile when I walk in the room.
I just want to see if we can get you to open your mouth more. Okay. Good afternoon, Sarah.
Good afternoon. Oh, I can't do it.
Go on, yes you can. That was brilliant.
Good afternoon.
That's fantastic. That was much clearer.
Good afternoon, Sarah.
Hello, Chris. How can I help?
You don't have any trouble with smiling?
No.
So any room you go into, there's a big Chris smile, is there?
Yep.
These young people are very vulnerable to hopelessness and anger and destructive behaviours, destructive to themselves and others. It's a tremendous vulnerability they have, and therefore, and often that can go on for a long period of time and significantly damage people's lives. People lead impoverished lives because of their behavioural and emotional difficulties, not because they lack skills. And here we have a group of youngsters who were a bit that way, but have emerged in a relatively short period of time as very self-aware, self-confident, optimistic young people. And that's fantastic from my perspective, because I tend to see those who are stuck, and we seem to have found a way of helping them through a very difficult transition and producing an outcome I would never have expected. I mean, this has just like stunned me really to see these guys.